Good. Sure.
Okay. I'm chatting with conductor pianist Giacomo Franci, artistic director and conductor of the New York Chamber Players, which you founded in 2004. We'll get to all that good stuff, but what we're really talking about is, as you know, is your volume 3 of the complete Beethoven piano sonatas. It's a 2021 release by Sheva Recordings, and all that information, how to get the CD, everything will be up on performingartsreview.net on your page there. So we'll deal with that. So we're in volume 3 of the complete Beethoven piano sonatas. We're looking at the E flat major, opus 7, the F major, opus 10, number 2, and the A flat major, opus 6, opus 26. And what is interesting to me, as I have explained earlier, I am not a musicologist, I'm a musician. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend musicologists out there, so sorry. But what I'm interested in always, and we all need to be anyway, is at least kind of I love history, so I like to be in a bit of I need to know what's going on. And what we're looking at with these 3 sonatas is roughly the years 1796 to about 1800. That's the area roughly. And the reason that's important to me is that we're talking about a young Beethoven who's in his 20s, maybe late 20s. He has not yet gone into the really, frankly, beginnings of this romanticism, if you will. This is still music very much influenced by Mozart in style and performance, Mozart, Haydn, all of that. So I just kind of, that always gives me, and all of us, kind of what do you call it, a context to understand what we're hearing. Well, let's just do the dates for Beethoven, 1770 to 1827, just so you get an idea. So born in 1770, 1796 is where we're dropping in to have a listen, through about 1800, just so folks kind of get an idea of what's going on in his life. He's still young, very impressionable. He's still influenced heavily by Mozart and Haydn and all that, so you get an idea of the style of the sonatas. Giacomo, let's talk a little bit about, let me kind of introduce you to folks. Giacomo Franci, I've mentioned that you're artistic director of the New York Chamber Players Orchestra. You mentioned earlier, and I do want you to tell me all about that. And then I guess in 2016 is when you started recording the Beethoven sonatas, yeah?
Yes, Ermanno of Sheva Collection contacted me. He listened to some recordings that I have done, and he invited me to start this big project, the complete Beethoven sonata. So we started in 2016 with the first sonatas, the first 3 sonatas. The first one is dedicated to Haydn in F minor. So, and then we did the second recording and that third one. So now you pointed out that the 3 sonatas of the third volume are close chronologically, and what I'm always doing in my recordings, I do recordings chronologically. I started with modern music with Aaron Copland and Igor Stravinsky, doing the complete piano works by them, and doing that in 1 week each one. So I did the 3 CDs, the 3 CDs of Copland in 1 week, and the 2 CDs of Stravinsky also in 1 week. That was in Italy as well.
Was that wise or was it impetuous?
What do you say?
Was that wise or was it impetuous?
I think it was wise because, I mean, the reviews came out very, very well, so already that. But I think that it put me right in the right, what's called the energy zone. I don't know how better to explain it. That I was inside the composer, like the creative process of the composer in both cases. And with Beethoven, the order of CDs is not strictly chronologically. Sometimes, for example, if I remember well, I think in the first recording, I did the Pathetic Sonata, which is not one of the first three sonatas. Yeah. So I'm sticking. The basic is chronological, but sometimes I jump a little on a sonata that is ahead, maybe inserting a more famous sonata among the three for also to make it more public, and so there are different situations.
It's called marketing.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about this because otherwise, some artists will say I am too much, like that. I'm not a pure artist. I'm a pure artist.
But what is a pure artist? Somebody explain that to me later. But for now, the reason I made a little bit of a joke about marketing is first of all, let's just get clear. We need to be savvy about marketing. It's just pure and simple. And the other thing is, this will be a perfect segue because I want you to tell me when. First of all, we're going to talk about what life was like in Italy as a young boy and when piano came into your life. But then I want to know a bit more about your chamber players, because the reason I complimented you about marketing is conductor. You're a conductor. You know very well. You're responsible for making people get in seats, and that's called marketing. So I salute you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just begin a little bit. I'm imagining what kind of, was it a small little city in Italy? Give me the story.
So I was grown up in Massa Carrara. Massa Carrara are two towns in the north of Tuscany, and as I was telling you a while ago, is Carrara is the town of marble. The mountain in Carrara is all marble. So they just cut it off and sell it. And so I was born there, and then I was raised in Massa, which is a town that is 5-6 miles away from. It makes it like a county of two towns. And what happened is I graduated the Conservatory of Lucca, and then I won a scholarship in Saluzzo for master degree in piano. And then I started conducting also in Pisa. I won a scholarship also as conductor for 1 year conducting of the symphony orchestra. There was a symphony orchestra sitting there for us to learn.
Nice.
So it was a real privilege. And so what happened is that I have had disadvantages, I say, because the studies were always scholarship or with no cost, because the conducting study, for example, was sponsored by the Toscan region, and so we just won the admittance to that. So there was that. But then after the studies, there was not much to do with it.
Well, I was going to say, what are you going to do?
Yeah. What do you do with that? So there was an occasional concert in town, and then there was some clapping there, but there was not much happening. So I don't know if you want to know my story, how to come here, or should continue?
It's very important because so many of the people I chat with have come to this country, and it's always fascinating to learn how and why for all of us watching.
Well, the thing is that my family were already starting to arrange other jobs for me. For example, following my father with the marble factory. And
what's that about? I missed that.
There is a joke about that. So the joke is that I asked my father if he could build a piano marble. So
okay, got it.
That is a joke.
So your dad was in the marble.
Yes, my dad was in the marble business, and my brother followed him in the.
So you broke out.
So yes, so I found a possibility of coming to live in New York, and who invited me was my ex-girlfriend. So that was my start here. And
Nice.
the beginning, I have to say, was not very easy. Let's just leave it at that.
Let me jump in, please, because New York City is called being fed, alive to people. You get eaten alive in New York City, if I am anywhere close. So I can imagine difficulties in the beginning in New York City.
Yeah, in the beginning, yes. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself being food for people, but I'm quite fine now. I actually love New York. New York is there is you have to be careful. Yeah, there is this aspect that you were talking about. There is this incredible energy. I don't know what there is. You say that there is something in the earth, or is beside there are these big buildings.
Yeah, but let's stop for just a second. That is the new Liberty Tower, the replacement for the Twin Towers behind you. Yeah.
Right. Is right. Yeah, that's the demonstration of it is.
I presume your rent is controlled.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
So it's better to control it.
Yeah, exactly. In New York City, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's better to control it. So, yeah, and sometimes if you are not managing well your energy, it can be dangerous. It can be dangerous for your nervous system, for your health also. But if you manage it, it can become an energy, actually, an extra energy. So that is very, very interesting.
But basically, New York was your opportunity to leave Italy in the sense that things were not, it was.
No, in Italy was not. In Italy was people were talking about music, but there was no way to go. I mean, it was like, and I mean, I don't want to talk badly about Italy. The thing is that in America, everything is, you are here, and everybody say, why you don't go here? There is this way of getting better that I really love. Instead, maybe in Italy it's more like, okay, so you are here, aren't you happy already? So it's like you don't.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like it's a different culture in a way.
I think it's marvelous. Frankly, I like the idea of, hey, so you're happy. We have the bread, we have the wine. What do you need to go to crazy New York?
Yes, what do you want to do more? And so you found a job in music. Hey, what do you want? So, but here instead there is this, especially in New York, I think.
Yeah, without doubt. Or London. You know what I mean? We're talking about the two major centers for all arts in the world, really, New York and London, maybe Paris, of course. But anyway, that high energy of the big cities, the huge cities, the world capitals, and New York City is one because it's an American city, if you get my drift. There is, as you described, that incredible energy. Sometimes it's good energy, sometimes it's bad energy, and you survive.
No, but I really, New York is me in sense of, because I remember also when in the beginning I was here, I thought that every place, because it was the first place I went to LA, and LA is is not like New York, but it's still a big place. The first time I came to America, that's where I met my ex-girlfriend, by the way. That's how everything started. But when I was here in the first months and so forth, I just took a trip to Montauk, like in the seaside here, 2 hours away. I go there and say, but this is different. So the people were like going slower, and there was like less welcoming to people from other countries. They already distinguished themselves. I could see that right away, not like New York. So they are different. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've exhausted that one pretty much. So we can you give me a ballpark on the year that you came to America?
I came in 1994.
1994. Okay. Just
Yeah,
trying to
so
get
what
a
is
handle
like
on this. 94.
20,
Okay.
28 years about.
24. So yeah. And then when did you get this idea? So I'm really curious about this. So you came
Sure.
to New York City as a pianist, and then, or
I
see what I
so
mean?
as you know, I'm still a pianist, right? So I so I came so I studied conducting, but the conducting thing is very interesting because so you study conducting, so now how do you conduct? So the conduct, so you need an orchestra. So it's like you cannot. It's like you cannot be married if you are single, right? So if you are single, so it's like so there is this. Think where is this orchestra? So the orchestra become after the study of conducting, the orchestra become this mystery. How can you find an orchestra to conduct? It's quite a dilemma. So anyway, in 2004, I was flirting with the idea of forming an orchestra. But then I'm a pretty courageous guy, but I say, but you know, sometimes in music you have a duo, you invite, I don't know, a flutist. The flutist doesn't show up for whatever reason. Or so, I say, how can I form an orchestra if, you know, so I was feeling very scared about it. So then um, I got some people, because New York is like a person. It's also Pavarotti was describing New York like this. So sometimes you just go out and you're looking for an answer, and someone is just coming to you and telling you. He's telling you the thing. It's incredible. I mean, I sound crazy now, but it's true. So someone comes, and I remember because I also run a teaching studio with my wife here in Tribeca. So there was one of her students enter, and I swear to God, it's like he read my thought. I didn't talk to him. He came to me and he said, "Why you don't form an orchestra?" Out of the blue.
Hmm.
And then he played for me. He was playing because he was learning singing from my wife, but he was a double bass player. And he played a tape of the orchestra of lawyers and doctors. He played a tape, and then he said, "What do you think about this orchestra?" So he played that. And I say to him, this orchestra play very well, but they play almost half a step down. So they all had intonation problem. So anyway, from this different sign, then from France, I started this orchestra. I started with conducting from the piano with the Bach Piano Concerto number 1 in D minor. And I did literally my first rehearsal in my living room.
Oh no, believe me, you're not telling me anything new. I know this whole story. Continue, please.
Yeah. So there was my wife had a old upright Steinway piano, and I did the first rehearsal there. I started to play, and I thought, now these players, I was thinking maybe they play like the lawyers and the doctor.
Yeah.
Instead, they played very, very well. So I was feeling like, oh, these people are challenging me. They have a very high professional level. And from then on, I say, this is like, I always describe my orchestra a wealth of talent. So the orchestra is wealthy of talent. And then from there, things happen because talent speaks by itself.
Mm. Yeah, we spoke earlier about marketing, and now I am I want to talk about wearing another hat, which is called an administrative hat. As a conductor, you how shocking was that when you came to grips with the idea that, hey, this is not going to be easy. You just don't say, hey, boys and girls, come and gather, we'll make music and make money. You know what I mean?
Well,
Now you have to be an administrator.
okay, so the dealing with the financial aspect and the promotional aspect of the orchestra. There has been several people that tried to have an orchestra in New York, and they go in front of a blackboard and say, we need this X amount of money in order to start. And so all those people, they don't do anything because because you have to do the step of doing it. You have to take the first step. Unfortunately, it's like that, and then people gather on that. But if you are waiting, I have this in mind to do. Usually, nobody is following you. So at least
No, I hear you. I hear you very clearly. And again, you've made very clear, as we must all know about New York City, it's horrifying and hard, and hundreds and hundreds of people come through with the same ideas and end up in Milwaukee or something. Forgive me, Milwaukee, but you get the drift. So what I'm getting at is you're absolutely correct. People come in and do the chalkboard and say, well, we only need $480,000, and they've never even been heard yet. I believe you're saying we started small, we began to develop an audience, and then that it's easier for funding.
Yeah, I'm not saying that then it gets easier. It doesn't necessarily get easier. The thing is that is based on me. I mean, I have people helping me around, but I cannot. In my case, I mean, I cannot tell them now. You get the financial aspect. I take care of the artistic aspect. Unfortunately, I have to take care also of the financial aspect because otherwise it would end.
That's right, and you get no sympathy from me because the thing is that's what we have to do. Unless we're that one half of 1% that are welcomed to the New York Philharmonic at age 18, if you get my drift. In other words, it's hard work to keep an orchestra together, to get the players.
And then there is rewards. I mean, the major rewards is artistically. Because, I mean, you see where I'm living, so I'm not doing too bad, right? So, but the thing is, in art, that the two devils to marry is business and art, and the thing is, I don't know. You don't have to think too much about the money because, but you have to think about that too. So it's an equilibrium that you have to establish.
By the way, I think I saw somewhere that don't you have a big event coming up in May 22nd?
Yes, in May 19, I have because among the things I wear many hats. I'm like a little Bernstein, okay? So I'm wearing many hats. So I'm also a composer. So I composed a piano concerto several years ago that got rave reviews. And then I composed this other piece for violin and orchestra called The Plot Against You. And it's based on the myth of the hero and the masses, like the romantic myth of the hero and the masses. And in the romanticism, most of the time is the hero winning. In this case, it's the masses that are winning. So there is this dynamic about this, and then we do also a commercial recording of it from a Contemporary Record Society. There is other other pieces that are. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. But isn't I thought I read maybe incorrectly that it was a maybe a competition. I guess not, or a
Okay,
composition
so the
something.
so the competition is another thing that we do with the orchestra every year. We are now at the 22nd year that we are doing
Bravo.
it.
That's hard.
So
That's hard. Longevity.
every year we elect three winners, prodigies. They are from 9 years old until 13, 14 years old, and about. And these prodigies, they play better than professionals. So I'm featuring
Damn
this.
them.
Yeah, they don't miss a note. It's incredible. So they play very very well, and people love their performance, and of course I love them as well. And there is also this willing of helping them to start a career, and the NYCP orchestra is like a platform for them to display their talent.
And the only thought I had again about financing is that New York City is in terms of I'm not sure. Does the orchestra involve union members or
No, no,
young
no, no. We are no
Ah,
union. The
great, great,
orchestra
great.
is the orchestra is no, no, no. It's not union. The orchestra
Okay.
is on is a freelance orchestra. I deal one on one. So when I propose the payment, their compensation, they agree with that. If they are happy, I'm happy. If I'm happy, everybody's happy.
I love that attitude. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Well, I didn't mean to pry, which some people might have thought I was doing with that question, but it's so interesting because if this were a professional, as in that's a poor misuse of words, but if this were a union orchestra, you'd have a terrible
No, no,
finance.
no, no, no. It's not possible
Yeah.
that. This is
And the
professional.
talent,
By professional, I intend professional in sense of their artistic level.
yeah, exactly right. No, exactly
Yeah,
right. And there are so
but
many
but
young.
I not. So by being a freelance orchestra, it's very important to underline freelance orchestra. So I'm not giving them a stipend. I'm not. I pay them by service,
Yep,
and the decision is one on one. They're not employee of me. They are
exactly.
non-employee. They come for and in fact that's what happened. They come for one production, two. Then sometimes I call them, they're not available anymore. So, but and then I call other musicians,
Yeah.
and that's how it goes. And we have done great accomplishment on the mission statement because uh, we got people entering major orchestra like London Symphony, like Gothenburg in Sweden, like Mexico City Symphony. People that they have a stable job in big orchestras.
Yeah. Well, I did have a look at the orchestra site, and that's kind of what I was getting at because it struck me as being young professionals in the sense of these are people in their 20s, let's say, generally speaking, fresh out of college, brilliant musicians,
And not
playing.
only that, now we started a program for the prodigies that they don't win, they don't come to the first three places of the competition, but they are some of the finalists. They enter in the orchestra as a fellowship program.
Right.
So they enter in order to get experience in the orchestra, and it's great. So this is giving them a great knowledge to become professional musicians.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
not everybody is Yasha Heifetz.
No, no,
So, but
exactly right. That's the beauty and the bane maybe of New York City. It's full of talent, full of talent.
right.
And they're all looking for work. I think somebody said somewhere, maybe you did in somewhere that whole tragedy, which is that we're cranking out professional level musicians. You even mentioned 15-year-olds that play the socks off of music. That's the beauty, but the agony is, it's just, it's hard to get work. So you are providing a wonderful freelance
But
service.
I'm an eternal optimist. So for me, someone study music, can become a recording engineer. Who knows? There are several. You can become a critic. You can become.
Oh, stop that.
Yeah, I mean. I mean,
I guess the reason
you can do many different things, and
I think the reason I'm having so much fun with you is I've been exactly where you are and where you have been. I don't conduct any longer, but the point is, it's always hard work. It's so much more difficult to keep things together than the public generally understands or at all. And you've already mentioned the orchestra is a nonprofit. That's about the only way you can get this idea.
No, there is no other way to survive.
Exactly right. So that, and by the way, how many of the young kids, the 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds are from Treblinka?
Well, what happened is because there is a management is helping me to find this because they have ties with Juilliard School and Manhattan School. So then these kids come, they subscribe to the competition, and then 12 get to the finals.
Yeah. The reason I asked, I was making.
No, wait a moment. So in the orchestra enter only a few, because otherwise become like a youth orchestra then. So I give only the possibility of 3 or 4 every year to enter in the fellowship program.
What I meant was, I thought that you also had like a musicians competition, pianists, violinists, and so on for young kids.
That's the one. That's
and
the
therefore
same thing.
I made the joke a little bit that maybe went over your head about the school that you and your wife run.
Okay.
How many kids are from the school?
The case of my school, my school is mainly educational. So the students that I have are not in general. Sometimes I also host master classes. Okay,
sure.
But generally speaking, the basic of my school is educational. So you can come someone that wants to learn piano and plays at a decent level, but not at professional level. And I find this in a way more useful than forming other soloists that might just feel frustrated about it. So having more people, educational, by educational I mean that they start going to concert, attending concert. We need more public than musicians, I think. So.
And also what you said earlier, just a few minutes ago, it's very, very important, I think, that we help everyone to enjoy music, whether they play a little bit or whether they listen, that whole thing. And it sounds very corny, but it's really crucial these days that we.
No,
it's
very important, and I think I'm telling you more about this because I did a direct experience in my life. I always like to experience, and then if I get a little burned, okay, but at least I learned. I remember that I took I taped a video of my piano playing, and I put it on a TV channel. I say this, I'm going to sell a lot of tapes. This was a few years when I was here. Like I'm talking about like around 20 years ago. I wanted to see the reaction of the public toward a paid advertisement about playing Chopin or whatever. It has been a complete failure. But I'm happy that I did it because I discovered firsthand that people need education. So you cannot get to a cultural level if you don't get the education. So because even in New York, I think there is a good number of people that are not educated to classical music, even here in New York. And the problem is that this is deeply penalized by politicians. It's not in school. It's not where people get to know how a Tchaikovsky symphony sound like if they never get exposed to it, or even Beethoven symphonies. It's there is a lack of education, and from that the consequence is that people don't go enough to concerts and so forth and so on. So in my little or big world that it is, I like to educate in order to have more enthusiasm about. Yeah, it would be great if every school would do that, but it's not. It doesn't seem that it's happening anytime soon.
Once upon a time, in my youth, it was so. So the problem is that education funding for education has been, in my view, deliberately defunded, because if you have a stupid public, that's autocracy follows. If you get my drift.
Yeah, but then we start.
We don't want to go there. No, but I guess
No,
my
but
question.
but in fact we have seen a good sample of that recently.
We see, yeah, I've watched the decline. So part of me envies your youth in Italy, when even now, if I'm not mistaken, there's lots and lots of music and lots of education in music and the arts and so on. Am I
No,
wrong?
but you are dreaming an Italy that doesn't exist.
Even in Italy, it doesn't exist, huh?
No,
Ah,
no, it's
well
even
now
it's even in Italy it's even worse. I think the best place for classical music now. I did a big interview in Italy. It was a nice page of a newspaper. Is China. China is the best place, not intellectually speaking, but for fruition. People buy tickets and buy tickets, at a very good price. It's very fashionable there, and maybe the approach is not the most cultural one. It's kind of because I conducted an orchestra in 2019 there, the Shanghai Chamber Orchestra, and it was in the main concert hall in Shanghai, and we were commemorating Mendelssohn. So what happened? I conducted two symphonies, chamber music for chamber orchestra, the one for small ensemble, and tickets in the front line they were paying $150 each, and the concert hall was full. The thing is that there was something a little funny. In the beginning, they were playing Chopin nocturnes, so it's like the commemoration of Mendelssohn. Meanwhile, as introduction, it was like some. So they are not very like cultured like us, like that. So if you play Mendelssohn, maybe you should just play. I don't know if I explain it well. So before our program, in order to have people, when people are sitting in the beginning of the concert, they were playing other classical music that was looking a little strange, right? That was not proper to the commemoration of Mendelssohn. But there they do everything for selling. So whatever sell, they just do it.
they also crank out, from what I've seen on Facebook. My jaw drops every time I hear Japanese or even Chinese youth ensembles. The playing is perfection. Then there's the question of whether whether there's
They
the
play
aesthetic.
music or not.
Yeah, You got it. Now, speaking of playing music or not, why let's talk about these three sonatas on your CD. Let's just I'm going to give you it, and you're going to tell me about how you approached and how you prepared it. Let's talk about the number four piano sonata, the opus 7.
Opus
Please
7,
let me. Yeah. Now this is 1796. Again, just to give all of us a context. This man is a young man at this point. How did you what is your understanding of that number four piano sonata that I heard?
I find the sonata, thinking about the first movement, for example. So it's pretty serene, and I don't know if I remember well. I hope I'm not doing a big mistake. It's not called also pastoral.
Let's see. Let me help you out. Let me. What did I do this? I lost it. Well, the first movement is the molto allegro molto e con brio.
Yeah.
Of the number
Let
four.
me.
Okay.
You know what? Can I do this?
Sure.
Because it would help me. Can I just get the book, and I would be more focused about it.
Perfect.
Just give me a second.
I'll take a short nap. Look at that. So that is the World Trade Center behind Giacomo. Wow, what a view! Stunning. And the tulips and everything, very seasonal. I'm doing a house tour while we wait for him to get together the score. I hear shuffling papers. This will be worth it, I think. Here he comes. Okay. All right. Now we're ready.
Sorry.
Sure. No problem at all. None whatever. So we're looking at the number 4, the opus 7.
Yeah. This one is well, my personal approach with this first movement. I don't know if you have seen some of my videos when I was younger. I had more like an approach of bit slower and more curating the sound of. Then I started to solo with orchestras and getting more like not something it's in my head, but then
I understand.
So I started speeding up more, doing things because I was how can I say? I'm using it maybe a strange word now. I was a bit allergic to this gymnastic of playing fast, just so. Oh, I'm a great pianist. Look how fast I'm going, and there is a lot of that nowadays. In fact, one of the pianists I admire the most, he passed away a few days ago, Radu Lupu, and I don't say I'm similar to him, but anyway, I resonate with his own. But so I did a little compromise. So I played it. I don't know if you agree with me, if you already listened to it.
Well, I can tell you that the first thing I noticed was that the first movement of this particular sonata was played slower than I'm used to.
Okay. So it's still going, but believe me, I would have played even slower than that because I like the sound of to hear because all these sounds that are often losing clarity, and it gets most of the time it doesn't be in time because people push the tempi and then Yeah. So okay. So
So you're living in one of the most hyperventilated cities in the world, and you're choosing to go slower. How ironic, frankly.
yeah,
But I noticed that right away in the first movement of the number
uh,
four, and it reminded me a lot of one of the people at CalArts, Leonid Hambra, the pianist Leonid Hambra. He did a Mozart number 14 with me when I was a kid in my 20s, in orchestra, and he played the last movement, dum 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 dum, whereas most everybody else goes dum 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 dum. See what I mean?
so
And there
was
was,
was that so slow?
but the
Was
point
that?
is the clarity was there. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah.
In other words,
Okay.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah. I went. Yeah. No, that's my talking. Yeah,
No,
and then
what I mean is you've got it right. Yeah,
yeah, then thank you.
this largo, the second movement, the largo con gran espressione.
So that is hopefully like how it's written, right? Hopefully, I don't know what you are.
No. I'm just asking you how did you approach? How do you feel about approaching that largo? And by the way, yes, I agree with you. The approach
I
is correct.
I find that I hope, and at least my intention was to find a good range of dynamics and find expression there. I don't think I did, if I remember well, because by the way, I didn't get the CD yet, so I didn't listen the result of it.
Ah,
My so, but I I don't think I did much rubato here. I think I played pretty straight.
that, that,
I was playing more on the dynamic range, fortissimo to pianissimo.
and by the way,
Pianissimo.
what I've noticed on your performance of the CD is exactly that. This kind of just a kind of precise way of playing, not just in general, just kind of things that are very clear. You keep things moving, as opposed to lots of rubato, lots of other maybe affectations.
I hope that when this should be this should be the line of greatness, by the way. But that's why I hope that there is a continuum idea that is going. It's not like now a little piece of the first thema, then, but that is together.
Crucial. It's actually
Yeah,
crucial.
right.
The art. The art.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So,
Then,
well,
then
for
there's a
example, a difficult sonata for that, sorry,
yeah.
it's the Appassionata. The Appassionata is very, very difficult, which I didn't tape yet. It's very difficult to make a continuum. It seems that he's inviting you to break it in pieces, but it has to continue. And then I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Well, let's go ahead. We have two. It's a four movement sonata, which is interesting.
So
The
this
third
one
movement
is
is allegro.
di da di da di di da di di. Also, this is very serene. He's almost happy here, I think. Da, 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 da,
And then
da,
the
da.
rondo, the last movement is pretty
No, I was
tough.
talking about the third movement,
I
and
know,
then
go
the
ahead.
minore. The minore has been described like a gallop of horses. Like I don't know if you remember the
I
triplets
do.
there.
I do because I spent the day with the CD. I spent the
Wh-
entire day with it. I
ah,
spent the entire day with your CD. Yeah,
yeah. So
and then the
then
last movement,
the
rondo.
fourth movement is grazioso. So and I hope you agreed with my speed here. Is a poco allegretto, so I don't think it demands much speed except in the middle part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what did
It's
you
also
think about.
Well, it's also give me a little bit about it's a complicated rondo. It's fairly complicated to keep. Speaking of the arc, to keep that the arc of
Right.
that movement. How how about preparation? Did you have did you know what I mean? Was it, how do you remember?
Well, the thing is that I was quite honestly, I was mostly thinking technically. The the middle part is not easy with
Yeah.
that left hand thought.
Yep.
It's not easy also to keep it clear because
Yep.
then with the pedal, and now we are getting technical here, but yeah.
A little bit, but I'm curious. I'm glad you brought up the mention of pedal, because I was curious about. I think I read somewhere something about an addition, because anything that would be in Beethoven that would involve pedal. I just wondered how did you come about your pedaling? If you use
So
the expression.
my pedaling, it's a secret because I want people to have master classes with me, and so no, I'm just kidding. So anyway, so I can make a little more money. So anyway, I always joke, but anyway, the pedaling I rarely use the full pedal because the full pedal is the invitation for non clarity.
Yeah, exactly.
The piano become muddy and you don't hear the notes. If you don't hear the single notes, you hear like a bunch of them. It becomes uh,
Mush.
unpleasant to me. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I asked. That's exactly why I
yeah,
asked.
and
The
that's
importance of
what I was
using that.
mostly thinking about. But that I'm talking about the central part on the
Yeah,
32 notes.
yeah,
But the other part, the espressivo part, I was more thinking about the expression. In fact, if I remember well, at the point when there is the tema coming back, I think I did some rubato there, if I remember well.
I can't quite remember, but I don't think it's really necessary. I don't mean the rubato, but the idea is that you clearly have thought this movement out very carefully and how you
Yeah.
would play it. So that's kind of what I was getting at, just the process of putting this sonata together.
No,
And
as I was saying
yeah,
before to you, and I think I don't know. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I find that modern pianists that are too calculated and it's too much analysis on the uh, on the composition that most likely the composer was not even the composer was doing, because if music lose its spontaneity, you don't play it always the same. It depends. uh, I think it gets less communicative, even if you play very, very well. But it gets less communicative. The public become like kind of alienated. It feels like a lecture on the sonata instead of the sweat and blood that something that is there. I don't know if
well, no, I think that your choice of the word spontaneity is exactly how we're doing this interview, by the way. So I believe in it completely. Spontaneity, it's crucial. You begin fooling too much with stuff, and pretty soon it becomes, as you've said, too academic, too stunted.
and I'm telling you why we came to this problem. We came to this problem because these sonatas has been played by everybody, every giant of the piano. So now someone is going there and say, "Oh," start trembling. Ah, what's it? No, you are like, just do it. You do it, and then see if they like it, or I hope so. Just
Exactly.
yeah,
Giacomo, that's exactly why I asked these questions of you,
yeah,
because I wanted very much to get an idea of the personality that you are, and
yeah,
therefore your approach. So that's
yeah.
precisely
I've
why
been
why
told
I
I've
asked
been
the
told I
question.
got some of this personality, pretty much.
Oh, he says gesturing.
Okay, so this is
Italians have personality. Let's
that's a
just be
stereotype. That's a stereotype.
Let's move on because I see we're getting pretty close to an hour, which
Yeah.
is okay. By the way, in my view, again about spontaneity, I don't care if people watch these videos for 3 minutes and then tune out. I don't care if they can move or they can do whatever. But you and I are having a conversation, okay?
Yes.
So that's why I don't edit anything. We're just going to keep going until we run out of juice on it. So therefore, just in the interest of time, let's move on now to the number 6.
The one,
The F major, Opus 10.
the one in F major, right?
Exactly. Yeah, Opus 10 number 2. Again, we're still in 1796-98 in terms of
So
Beethoven's composing.
let's see. I'm getting there. Okay, so now
Okay.
this sonata.
Yeah.
I mean, quite sincerely, I remember also Ermanno when he was because Ermanno graduated in piano as well, so
thank you for that.
he knows this stuff. It's not like sound engineer that say, okay, start, finish. He knows, and he also say to me, I'm pretty annoyed with this sonata. It's like, so it's not one of the best sonata by Beethoven. I mean, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's between ironical and sarcastic, I would say.
It's kind of short and sweet. It's kind of short and sweet. It's a kind of an oddity. I think I see exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Right. And so we are often used to a Beethoven that is humoristic, that he likes humor, but is an elegant humor. Here is not elegant. It's almost sarcastic sometimes. So it's interesting to see this aspect of Beethoven as well. I would say that the best movement of this sonata is the second. It's very beautiful.
That's the Allegretto, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. It is. Actually, it is. In fact, the Allegretto is the substance of the entire sonata, really. I think it's the most important.
I really love the Allegretto. It's maybe one of the best, for certain senses, one of the best second movement. I mean, it's very little. It's a little sonata. But I like especially the central part, pianissimo, very beautiful. Mm-hmm. I really love it.
And the last movement presto is just kind of dashed off.
Okay, the last movement is taking back the character of the first one.
Exactly.
By the way, not easy to play technically. The last movement, and he's doing a fugato. I guess he was not a lover of Johann Sebastian Bach. He was like kind of mocking it, So it's very. You found this also. Maybe I played too slow here. I don't know.
I didn't feel anything at all that way.
I think I did it around 1/16. A little less than 120, around that.
Yeah.
If I remember well.
Fair enough, and you'll recall my anecdote about Leonard Hambro. So I'm with you 100%. Taking your time.
Who is this piano? Sorry, I don't know the name of. Is that?
He was a pianist. He was kind of a comedic sidekick to Leonard Hambro. He was a sidekick to another Borgia, maybe Victor Borgia, something.
Okay.
But he taught piano.
So maybe this is the beginning of a new career for me. I should. I say the critic suggested me to become a clown. Oh, great.
Oh, no. Come on. No. But the idea is
I'm humoristic, but I don't have any ambition to become a comedian.
Thank you. I'm glad. But my point is that taking things at slower tempos is not a problem for me at all.
Yeah. And then the other sonata is the variations, right? Are we done with that?
Well, we are. Because I'm running out of time. Let's look at the number 12, because it's a little later. It's circa 1800, and he is beginning to possibly indicate that he's beginning to move into that whole glorious period of composition.
So, this sonata I've been playing from forever.
Those are tricky variations.
Yes, I played this sonata when I was in my teens. I was 18, 19 years old.
Did you play it faster then?
What?
Did you play it faster then? Being 18?
No faster for sure. No faster for sure. But the first piece is mostly the scherzo and then the last movement. Yeah. I particularly like this sonata myself. There are several aspects that I like.
He's reaching that more mature level of composition, I think. Yeah. How about the Marche Funèbre, after which the sonata is actually side named, if you will? That's the third movement. It's that funeral dirge.
The Marcia Funebre.
You played that very well like that. Yeah.
Well, it's. I think I describe it in the libretto as well, and I think Chopin was inspired, but
interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, you feel that this is a funeral march by someone, Beethoven, that believes in God. Instead, I think, and now unfortunately I don't remember, but there was a clear sign of that. Instead, Chopin, I don't think he was so convinced about the existence of God, and you can feel in the music.
Interesting. Fascinating. Yeah. Fascinating. What you've just said.
Yeah.
And then there's that.
It's obviously a great composition, and I think, in the notes that I saw, that this piece was played when Beethoven died. Was performed.
At his funeral?
It's in the historical notes.
Interesting.
So when I studied the sonata, I didn't know that. I knew it when I had to write the libretto, the comments on that. Because as I was telling you, I'm not a musicologist.
That's what I wanted. Let's spend just a couple of minutes because it's very important. Sometimes you can get hung up on the musicology. And I think what you're saying is you discover, you play, you discover, you come to your own resolutions in your own mind. Then maybe later you figure out what was so and what wasn't. I think it's perfect. It's a perfect approach. Now that last movement, Allegro, is very, very fast and very difficult, is it not? Have a look.
This last movement, I have to be sincere to you. Now that about a few months, I found another technical trick. I say, wow, if I would have known it before, it would have been better. Okay, I hope it was not too bad.
No. You are too self-denigrating.
Yeah, well,
look that up in Italian.
It could have been clearer than that. But it's the beauty about playing. And I hope I don't re-record things. I just like to do new things.
Perfect.
Because it become it's not to become an obsession.
Absolutely right.
It's obsessive enough already. So.
What I love about what you've said tonight is that whole idea of spontaneity, the whole idea of discovering later, maybe, what everybody else already knows, if you get my drift. I think that's the way to approach music. It's kind of the way when I go to a concert to review it, I never do any preparation. I just experience it and then go home and talk about what I experienced. So I think that's
myself. I consider myself first a musician, then a pianist. Even if I started as pianist and then conductor, but actually I am thinking about music first. It's not about this. I mean, if I play Chopin studio, so I can go fast. But the thing is that if it is only that, I don't think there is any. Why someone is not doing athletics then? why it has to play piano? Piano is a music instrument.
You put your position very, very well. Thanks very much. It's wonderful. The conversation has been well worth it for me because you touch on so many things, to say nothing of our kind of joint careers as conductors in terms of creating an orchestra. It's hard, I love that part of the conversation. But I'm going to have to end it, or we'll be here for another hour.
Yeah.
What a pleasure chatting with conductor pianist Giacomo Franci, artistic director. I want to give you a plug. Artistic director and conductor of the New York Chamber Players Orchestra, and of course a pianist. And as we discovered, and we're talking about the Sheva Collection Records release of the third volume of the complete Beethoven piano sonatas. We were talking about the Opus 7, the Opus 10, number 2, and the Opus 26. The catch is there are a lot of Beethoven sonatas. How many years do you have left?
I have many years. I plan to die around 120 years old. It can be maybe a little less than that.
The eternal optimist. On that happy note, really happy note, I want to thank you very much, Giacomo. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been great chatting with you.
It has been great also from my side. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
See you.